Okay, so today we're diving into something pretty cool.
Yeah.
Turning amazing research into a real business.
Right.
We've got a listener, sounds like they're onto something big,
Absolutely.
trying to figure out, like,
Yeah.
how do you go from the lab to actually launching a company?
That's a great question.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like speaking two different languages, you know?
It is.
Like academia and then the startup world.
It's a different world, right?
Oh, it is.
Different timelines,
Yeah.
different mindsets,
Right.
risk tolerance, everything is different.
So, like, how does our listener, who's probably,
Yeah.
used to grants and publications,
Right.
how do they start even thinking like an entrepreneur?
Yeah. Well, I think one of the big things is they have to, think about validating their idea in the market, right?
Right.
It's not enough that it's groundbreaking academically.
Right. It has to actually...
It has to solve a problem for real people.
Yeah.
Like, people have to want it
Right.
and be willing to pay for it, right?
So how do they even, like, test that?
So one of the best things to do
Yeah.
is to think about a minimum viable product or an MVP.
MVP, okay.
It's that simplest version of the idea that you can put in front of potential customers
Makes sense.
to get feedback.
I like it. That's good. Okay, so they've got this MVP.
Right.
Now they need to, I don't know, figure out how to market this thing.
Yeah. They need to figure out.
I mean, most academics, I'm guessing, are not trained in, like, marketing and sales, right?
No, and that's where mentorship comes in.
Okay.
I mean, you really need to find people who have done this before,
Okay.
who have walked this path from research to commercialization, ideally in a similar field, right?
Yeah.
And alumni networks are great for this.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Like, reach out to people.
Right.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
And there's also organizations like the National Science Foundation's I-Corps program.
Okay.
They specifically help scientists, translate their research
That's cool.
into commercial opportunities.
Okay, cool.
So there's resources out there.
So I'm picturing our listener, they're like knee-deep in lab work.
Right.
And now they have to, like, pitch to investors.
It's a whole other world.
That's a whole different skill set.
Yeah.
Like, how do they even start building a team?
So building a team is huge.
Yeah.
And I think it's all about recognizing your strengths
Okay.
and knowing where you need help.
Okay. Yeah.
Don't be afraid to reach out to former students, colleagues
Right.
with industry experience.
Okay.
Like, get those people on your team.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, what about, like, juggling academic commitments with the demands of a startup?
It's a lot.
Right. Like, are we talking
It's tough.
late night meetings? I mean,
It can be a lot of late nights. There's
Yeah.
ways to navigate it, right?
okay.
Some universities offer sabbaticals,
Oh,
which can be a great way
Oh, that's a good idea.
to focus on your ventures.
I see.
Some encourage partnerships
Right.
with institutions,
Right.
creation of spin-off companies.
So, okay, so
Nice to make it work.
to recap for our listener, understand the differences
Yeah.
between academia and business.
Right.
Validate your idea in the market.
Absolutely.
Find some good mentors who've been there before.
Yes.
Build that team.
Build diverse team.
Yes. Diverse team.
Yeah.
And then figure out how to balance your commitments.
You got it.
I mean, that's a lot.
It's a lot, but it's possible.
It is possible.
And I think one thing that people don't realize is, like, the power of your academic network.
That's true.
Like, you've spent years
Yeah.
becoming an expert in your field.
All right.
Who else has that knowledge?
That's a really good point.
So leverage that.
Yeah.
Offer something unique.
You mentioned, like,
Right.
finding those people for your team.
Right?
And that reminds me,
Yeah.
like, if our listener is looking for collaborators,
Yeah. Yeah.
people with specific skills to bring their idea to life,
Absolutely.
academicjobs.com is amazing for that.
Oh, yeah. It's a great resource.
It's just one of these many great services they offer.
Yeah.
So as you're, going on this crazy adventure,
Right.
here's something to think about. How can you use that expertise, that network,
Yeah.
to not just survive, but really thrive in the market?
That's a great question.
Let's your unfair advantage, use it.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It was fun.
I think that was super valuable for our listeners.
Yeah, I hope so.
Awesome.
Yeah.